Well, this is gonna be interesting. How's it going, everybody? Jerome here, back, and as of yesterday, it was officially announced that SMT5, or Shin Megami Tensei 5, to be released on the Nintendo Switch. Now, a quick first impression of the whole trailer in general. I am excited. I was excited when they were showing it off for, well, two reasons. The first one was when it ended, which was when they announced it to be SMT5. I was honestly expecting it to be a spin-off game similar to Soul Hackers, to Devil Summoner, to even Digital Devil Saga. I was expecting a spin-off instead of a mainline SMT game, so when they said it was SMT5, I was extremely happy. The second reason why I was actually really excited was because it's a fully 3D rendered world of SMT, and the closest this actually resembles is the PS2 era of the Shin Megami Tensei games, from SMT3 Nocturne, to the Digital Devil Saga series, to Raito Kuzunoa 1 and 2. So with that said, it has been an extremely long time since we had a fully rendered 3D world for Shin Megami Tensei. Now at this moment you guys might be saying, well, wouldn't you consider SMT4 and Apocalypse 3D rendered? Not fully. Yeah, sure, you walk around with a 3D rendered character, but when you do battle, when you talk to people, you fight a pixelated art form of said demon and said enemy, and when you fight a big bad boss, you actually fight their art portrait instead of a fully rendered 3D model. So, in my eyes, SMT4 and Apocalypse aren't fully 3D rendered. The closest SMT5 has to be is the PS2 era games, and again, it's been an extremely long time since they have done this, so I'm extremely happy for that. And not to mention, this is their very first time going to Unreal Engine to do their game, so that makes me even more excited. Anyways, I wanted to actually make this video in regards to people who are actually showing slight interest to the SMT series now. Especially for those who have only played through Persona 3 to Persona 4 to Persona 5. I am here to extend my hand to help you guys get into SMT, if you guys are really interested. So, first thing is first, is that I do have to say this. No, you guys do not need to play every single SMT game to get an understanding of what is going on in the world of the SMT games, because they're all extremely different, from If to Strange Journey, to SMT2, to Digital Devil Saga, to the Soul Hackers series, and so on and so on. You don't need to play every SMT game to get an understanding of what is going on. I promise you that. The other thing I do have to say is, you know how people always say, oh, SMT is a lot harder than Persona has ever been. Oh, you will be chewed and spit out in the first couple hours of the whole entire game. Don't listen to that. If you're interested into the games, then by all means, go try out the game. And if you are scared of getting lost and so on and so forth because of what people have been saying, and it is true, you will get lost with an SMT, then don't be afraid to look up guides, because that's what they're there for. That's why they were made back in the day as well, to help you proceed further within the game. So don't let the whole difficulty talk and the you will get lost talk affect you from attempting to try out these games. If you need help, by all means, you have the power to literally look up where you need to go and how to do things. That's what, again, that is what guides were for, and that's why they are here to this day now on the internet. And the final thing I do have to say is, well, don't be scared. Yes, people have said the SMT games are hard. Yes, people have said that you will get lost. Just don't be scared. With that said, I am here to point people in the direction in which SMT game I personally think is the best beginner-friendly game for people who are showing interest. And my answer is easily SMT Apocalypse for the 3DS. And that is actually the second part of the SMT4 franchise. Now, at this moment, you guys might be wondering, well, if it's the second parter of a two-part series, wouldn't it be wise if I played SMT4 first and then move on to Apocalypse? In my personal eyes, you can do that. Without a doubt, you have the power to do that. but Apocalypse does brief you down on the moment of what has been happening over in the other world with the samurais and stuff like that, but it doesn't fill you in fully. So if you guys really want to get the full lore going on, by all means, if you guys want to try out SMT4 before Apocalypse, then do so. Just fair warning that the choices you make in that game actually does matter if you want to try to carry over data towards Apocalypse. So if you're going to look up information on trying to actually get the neutral ending, which is the canon technically ending, then by all means look it up. You have the power. Now the reason why I actually point towards Apocalypse more than SMT4 is because reasons. And the first reason, and probably the biggest reason, is because of directions. Now, for those who have played SMT, you guys know what I mean when I say this. Out of every SMT game, excluding Apocalypse, they tell you where to go for your next mission, but they don't show you how to get there. And that's when people get lost for 30 minutes to an hour before actually breaking down to looking up a guide or just stop playing the game overall. Now, in Apocalypse, that actually changes. And to my knowledge, this is the very first SMT game that actually pinpoints on the map where you need to go to proceed further within the story. That's the number one and probably the most biggest reason on why I actually point people towards Apocalypse. The second reason I actually point towards it is because, speaking solely towards the people who has only played through Persona 3 to Persona 5, you are actually introduced to a healthy cast of side characters, from Navarre to Hallelujah, and of course the MVP of the whole entire game, Dacta. Probably one of the best things of SMT Apocalypse as well. There is no social linking, you just have nice conversations with them, nice moments regarding the situation in the world, and so on and so on. You don't need to meet them up at all to boost the ranking or for them to perform better in battle. No, that doesn't really need to happen at all in SMT. And honestly, I think that's about it. Those are actually the biggest reasons on why I actually point towards Apocalypse more than the other SMT games. But by all means, if you do check out Apocalypse and you want to play through SMT4 next, go right ahead. And I do have to say that now that you have a grasp of how SMT works in terms of negotiating, in terms of battles, from debuffing to buffing, you're actually ready at that moment to try out some of the other SMT games. Specifically, Nocturne. And yes, I say Nocturne, even though it has a reputation for being quote-unquote the hardest SMT game, it is a very, very fun game. And you could easily get this on the PSN store for the PS3. And this is probably the part where I would say try going for the true demon ending. Now the problem with that is the struggle. And I say this is because there is a lot of work that needs to be done to get the true demon ending. From the Pyrojack puzzles to the Amalo network, and of course being chased by Dante, which is possibly the scariest thing in the whole entire game. But if you want to try out a more unique franchise, I would probably point you to Raito Kuzunoa. That breaks the mode of traditional SMT games, because it's not a turn-based game at all. It is actually an action RPG. It is pretty awesome. Now the combat in Raito 1 is pretty jank, if I do say so myself, so you're really gonna have to push through that game. And not only that, it's basically Shin Megami Tensei Pokemon Edition. And the reason why I say that is because you don't negotiate with demons at all in this game. You actually have to capture them in a weakened state. And it's a pretty interesting concept. The story is alright, but I can say one thing. Raito Kuzunoa 2 versus King Abaddon is where they kicked up the combat tenfold, where it's much smoother, you actually have a dodge, you have special attacks, you have more control of your bullets. It is a lot better than Raito 1. But if you're the kind of person that want to play the first game before the next, then you're going to have to really push through Raito 2. And again, it doesn't hurt to look up guides on where to go and how to get there. But if you guys are more of the story-oriented type, I would actually guide you towards the Digital Devil Saga series, also on the PSN. Now, I forgot to mention this. Do not get Digital Devil Saga 1 and Raido 1 from the PSN. They are extremely bad ports of the game, where DDS 1 ran on my streams 2 times slower than initially do normally, and the audio for cutscenes would be out of sync so hard that you just lose interest, because it just breaks the moment with like Janana and stuff like that. So honestly, have to say, if you have a old PS3, like a fat PS3, or if you have a PS2, get the PS2 version and play it like that. Carry over your data from there on, and it will just save you the struggle from being disgusted and throwing up on the spot of how bad those ports are. It's funny because DDS2 and Raido 2 runs extremely fine, and Nocturne, and P3, so I don't know what happened with those ports, but they just run badly. But yes, if you're more of a story guy, then by all means, go check out Digital Devil Saga 1 and Digital Devil Saga 2. In my opinion, that series is the best storytelling SMT game, even to this day. And with that, I am hoping that I have made you more interested into playing the SMT games. I was just like most of you guys watching this video. I started only with Persona and played only with Persona. It wasn't until like a couple of months ago where my viewers on Twitch actually recommended to play Nocturne, and thanks to them for helping me throughout the whole thing to get the true demon ending, I fell in love with it. And then I started checking out the other series, from Raido to Digital Devil Saga to SMT4, and soon Deep Strange Journey, and I could honestly say that I actually do enjoy SMT a lot more than Persona. It's a weird thing. I know that's a pretty ballsy statement for a lot of you guys, but I truly believe I have a lot more fun with SMT than Persona, especially Persona 5. It's really crazy. You guys might say, oh man, you're just hating on P5. No, I honestly, legitimately believe I had more fun with the SMT PS2 era games than Persona 5. It's quite an interesting place. And I think that about does it. Hopefully I have helped people consider in trying out the SMT games. That was the initial goal of this video. I want to be the helping hand towards people to trying out the SMT franchise, especially people who have only played the Persona series. And if you're specifically coming from Persona 5, then congratulations, you're actually one step ahead than most from understanding how SMT works, because guess what? Negotiations were in that game. So you guys have a grasp how negotiations work, from it actually going pretty smoothly to it completely BSing your entire life. Anyways, I will be back with more news regarding SMT5 and not Deep Strange Journey, and the reason why that is because I have never played Strange Journey. So Strange Journey Redux, or Deep Strange Journey, will be the very first time I played through the series, and people highly praise it, so here's hoping that it will actually be very awesome. Anyways, my name's Jerome, and I will see you guys within the next video.